All right. When Don Draper walked into a room, he didn't just sell you a product. He
Yeah,
sold you this idea of yourself, a yearning who's like a better future. He
right.
sold Don Draper.
Hmm.
And, in this world where like your career, your business, even like your impact hinges on how you're perceived, you know,
That's true.
mastering that same art of self-selling, like what we call personal branding.
Totally, yeah.
That's not just smart.
It
It's like
is.
your superpower. It's like,
Yeah, it's essential. It's
yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
essential. What's so interesting is like to hold up this incredibly compelling character, albeit fictional,
yeah,
against these very real strategies of personal branding.
yeah.
Don Draper, in essence, was a masterclass in crafting and projecting an image,
Right.
a carefully constructed narrative, and for you navigating today's landscape, like understanding how he did it, both the triumphs and the stumbles,
Oh, yeah.
offers invaluable insights into building your own brand.
Absolutely. So for this deep dive, we've immersed ourselves in wealth of knowledge.
Hmm.
We're talking Forbes TED, Northeastern University, Teachable,
Wow.
Harvard Business Review, Sprout Social, Cvent, all the big ones dissecting personal branding. And to make it like truly resonate,
Yeah.
we're viewing it all through this captivating case study of Don Draper,
Like,
drawing on the rich details from the Mad Men Wiki and Wikipedia.
perfect.
Our mission is to extract these core principles of effective personal branding
Uh-huh.
and show you how to apply them to build your own authentic and impactful presence.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, if we frame this as a case study, much like analyzing the branding strategy of a successful company,
Right.
Don Draper's journey with its dramatic highs and lows
Yeah,
provides a powerful lens.
it does.
It allows us to see these abstract concepts in action,
Yeah.
to understand not just the theory, but the practical implications of building and maintaining a personal brand.
So think of our journey today as like a 5-act play.
Okay?
First, brand identity, uncovering who you really are.
Okay.
Second, audience, identifying exactly who you need to connect with.
Got it.
Act 3 is strategy, the concrete steps you take to present yourself.
Makes sense.
Then failures, because missteps are part of any branding exercise.
They are.
And finally, fallout, the lasting impact of your personal brand. Get ready for
I love it.
actionable insights and maybe a perspective shift or two.
All right, so let's dive right into Act 1, brand identity.
Okay.
We're introduced to Don Draper, this incredibly charismatic and successful advertising executive.
Yeah,
But underneath that polished exterior
right.
is Dick Whitman, a man with a completely different past.
Uh-huh.
His reinvention in New York, assuming Don Draper's identity after the Korean War,
Oh, yeah.
is a dramatic example of constructing a new persona.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
While Don achieved considerable success with this, like, constructed identity,
Yeah.
almost every piece of expert advice on personal branding emphasizes this absolute necessity of genuineness.
Right.
Monica Lynn put it, people can see right through a disingenuous act.
Yeah, they can.
William Harris suggests your personal brand should feel like an easy daily filter,
I like that.
meaning it should be an authentic reflection of who you are.
Yeah.
And Justin Wu advises mastering your craft first,
Yeah.
your genuine expertise, then naturally fuels your brand.
Right.
So it's all about that authenticity.
That tension between Don's manufactured identity
Right.
and this overwhelming advice to be authentic is key.
Yeah,
While his fictional scenario allowed for a radical escape and a new beginning,
totally.
for you building a sustainable and trustworthy personal brand authenticity is the bedrock. The
Absolutely.
TED speaker we looked at framed personal branding as an opportunity for genuine self-discovery and growth.
So how do you uncover that genuine brand identity for yourself?
Yeah.
Rashna Vijayasena in Forbes talks about identifying your unique value proposition.
Okay.
This isn't about being mediocre at many things.
Right.
It's about pinpointing what you do exceptionally well
Yeah.
and positioning yourself as the go-to person in that specific area.
I like that.
What is that intersection of your skills and passions that makes you uniquely valuable?
And this requires real introspection.
Yeah.
The Northeastern University article recommends a candid assessment of your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
The TED speaker encourages you to think deeply about what truly differentiates you.
Uh-huh.
What knowledge or skills do you possess that very few others do?
Yeah.
What are those aha moments in your own experience where your unique talents shown.
Right.
Consider those as clues to your core brand identity.
Moving on to Act 2 audience.
All right?
Don Draper, in his role as an advertising executive,
Yeah,
was a master of understanding his audience.
he was.
The desires, the aspirations, the vulnerabilities of the consumers he was trying to reach.
Right.
His primary audience, of course, were his clients, the gatekeepers to those consumers.
What's crucial for you is to apply that same laser focus to defining your audience before you even begin to craft your personal brand message.
Totally.
As highlighted by both Northeastern University and the TED Talk,
Right.
knowing who you want to reach is the fundamental first step.
Absolutely.
Are you trying to connect with potential employers, attract new clients, influence thought leaders in your industry,
Yeah.
or something else entirely?
Exactly. Because understanding your audience dictates not only the story you tell,
Right.
but also where you need to tell it.
It does.
The Northeastern article gives practical examples.
Okay.
LinkedIn, to connect with hiring managers, a visually rich portfolio website, to showcase graphic design work. The TED speaker powerfully stated, your personal brand is not about you.
Right.
It's about the people you want to educate with the skills, knowledge, and value you can provide.
Absolutely.
So for you, who are those people whose lives or careers you want to impact?
And once you've clearly identified your target audience, you
Yeah.
can then tailor your message for resonate with their specific needs and interests. Just as Don meticulously crafted different ad campaigns for various demographics.
Right. Your personal branding efforts should be sharply focused on delivering value to the specific audience you're trying to reach. All right, Act Space Strategy,
Okay.
the crucial how-to of presenting your personal brand to the world.
Yeah,
Don Draper cultivated a very specific image, didn't he?
he did.
The Mad Men Wiki details his sharp, sophisticated, and powerful style. The iconic man in the gray flannel suit became synonymous with his persona.
Right.
That visual presentation was a key element of his brand.
Precisely. And while your personal style will undoubtedly be different,
Yeah,
the importance of intentional presentation remains paramount.
it does.
This app explores the various strategies you can employ to showcase your personal brand effectively, both online and offline.
Let's start with your online presence.
Okay.
The TED speaker emphasized the critical role of a personal website as your central digital hub,
Yeah.
a place where you have complete control over your narrative and can share your story in depth.
I like it.
When it comes to social media, the advice is to be strategic.
Okay.
Choose 1 or 2 platforms where your target audience spend their time
Yeah.
and where your professional goals align.
Makes sense.
LinkedIn for professional networking, Instagram for showcasing creative work,
Yeah.
as the TED Talk suggested.
But simply being present online isn't enough.
Right.
Forbes highlighted the power of actively creating valuable content,
Yeah.
well-written articles, engaging videos.
Oh, yeah.
Pilpina Tripp's success using video on LinkedIn is a great example of this in action.
Absolutely.
The TED speaker encouraged sharing insightful articles,
Yeah.
posting thoughtful opinions, and consistently offering helpful engagement.
Uh-huh.
It's about establishing yourself as a knowledgeable resource.
Absolutely. And never underestimate the impact of a well-crafted elevator pitch.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Northeastern University stressed the value of having a concise and compelling
Yeah.
30 to 60-second summary of who you are, what you do, and what you're aiming to achieve.
Right.
It's your go-to introduction in various professional settings.
Which naturally leads us to the importance of networking.
Right.
Forbes emphasized actively seeking out connections and collaborations within your industry.
Yeah.
Northeastern University specifically mentioned informational interviews as a powerful way to not only build your network, but also gain valuable insights and strengthen your personal brand within your field.
And across all these strategic elements, consistency is absolutely vital.
Oh, yeah.
The Teachable article underscored the need for a consistent tone, visual aesthetic if applicable, and demonstration of your core skills across all your online and offline interactions,
Right.
your website, your social media profiles,
Yeah.
even your in-person communication should all tell a coherent and unified story about your personal brand.
Now we turn to Act 4 failures.
Okay.
Don Draper, despite his professional triumphs,
Right.
was a deeply flawed individual.
He was.
His infidelities, his struggles with alcohol,
Yeah.
his tendency to run from genuine connection,
Right.
these were significant failures in his personal life
Yeah.
that inevitably had repercussions on his professional reputation,
They did?
culminating in the damaging advertising age interview
Yeah.
that negatively impacted his agency.
Right. But here's a crucial distinction.
Okay.
While Don's failures often spiral downwards, the experts on personal branding emphasize that being prepared for
Right.
and learning from failures is a difficult part of building a resilient brand.
Yeah, it's important.
Walt Disney famously said, all the adversity I've had in my life, all my troubles and obstacles have strengthened me.
Love that quote.
Timothy Hong encourages embracing discomfort and pushing boundaries,
Right.
recognizing that growth often comes from setbacks.
Yeah.
So it's like, you got to fail to succeed.
This shifts the perspective on failure.
Yeah.
It's not about avoiding mistakes entirely. That's often impossible.
Yes.
But about viewing them as opportunities for learning,
Right.
for refining your approach, and for demonstrating resilience. How you respond to setbacks can actually strengthen your brand in the long run.
And to ensure you're learning and adapting effectively, regularly auditing your personal brand is essential.
Yeah, I agree.
Schwab's, Harvard Business Review, and Sprout Social all recommend periodically checking your online and offsite presence.
Right.
What are people saying about you?
Yeah.
What results come up when you search your name? Understanding these perceptions helps you identify any discrepancies between your intended brand
Right.
and how you're actually being seen.
Finally, Act 5 fallout.
Okay.
Don Draper's ending in Mad Men was deliberately open-ended.
Yeah.
His departure, his presence at the Eastland Institute,
Yeah.
it leaves his ultimate fate and lasting legacy somewhat ambiguous.
It does.
Did he find personal fulfillment?
Right.
Did he return to his advertising career?
It's a question mark hanging in the air, isn't it?
It is.
But when we look at the principles of personal branding,
Yeah.
the focus is much clearer, building a positive impact and a lasting legacy.
Right.
Jacob Schwartz reminds us that your reputation is your brand, and a positive attitude, coupled with a genuine desire to help others,
Right.
contributes significantly to long-term brand growth.
What's particularly insightful of the idea that your personal brand ultimately becomes what people say about you when you're not in the room.
Right.
As Aaron Aronoff pointed out,
Yeah.
this underscores the importance of building trust and a positive reputation through consistent actions and genuine engagement. Seeking recommendations and endorsements, as Northeastern University suggested, can further solidify this positive perception.
And ultimately, it all comes down to the legacy you want to leave.
It does.
What do you want to be remembered for?
Yeah. What's your impact?
Lake Jameson's quote resonates here. Building a personal brand is much bigger than building a business. The only exit strategy is legacy.
I like that.
What mark do you aspire to make in your professional and personal life?
So to synthesize everything, much like the compelling case study of Don Draper,
Yeah.
everyone inherently has a personal brand,
Right.
whether consciously cultivated or not.
Right.
The true power lies in taking an intentional and strategic approach to shaping that brand.
Exactly, like deeply understanding your unique value. Clearly defining the audience you want to reach.
Right.
Presenting yourself authentically and consistently, germing and adapting from inevitable setbacks.
Yeah.
And always focusing on creating a positive impact.
Right.
You can build a powerful and enduring personal brand. It's a brand that will open doors, foster meaningful connections,
It will.
and ultimately help you achieve your most important goals.
This brings us to a final crucial thought for you to consider.
Okay.
In today's hyper-connected world,
Yeah.
where countless personal narratives compete for attention,
Right.
what is the single core value or story
Yeah.
you want your personal brand to communicate most powerfully? What is that indelible message you want to leave behind?
Right.
Ensuring that you are remembered for the right reason
Yeah.
long after you've made an impression.
Uh-huh.
How will you actively begin to shape that narrative
Yes.
starting right now?
That is the question.
It is.